Hello, you lovely internet people. My God, has it been a long time since I've uploaded any sort of videos. And all of the old videos are now private because they embarrassed me. My past self embarrasses me heavily. I think, when was the last time I made a thing? Probably when I was like 16 or something, which isn't that long ago. But anyway, um, what's the point of this video? Well, the point of this video is that I need some motivation to work on learning Mandarin, a language that I had wanted to learn for probably my whole life because of cultural and personal reasonings for that. And couldn't ever motivate myself to do said thing. And now that I'm in university and yeah, I could have taken a language class, but that would have taken away from my major related classes. And because of that, I'm just like, no, I wouldn't want to do that because that would take course hours away from things that could be more useful for other things. So as a result, I'm like, okay, let's put this language thing on the back burner or do it supplementally or something else. But that just ends up making you just push it away forever, and then you end up never doing it, and then you live your life, and then you're just like, oh shoot, I should have done that thing that I said I was gonna do, and then you're just disappointed. So this video is motivation for me to do that, because if I tell the internet, hey internet, I'm doing this thing, then they hopefully should hold me accountable to doing that thing. Because if I ever fall off the rails, then it's just like, well, the internet knows that you failed, so how do you feel about that? So that's the idea with this. So starting today, as soon as I'm done with this video, I will start going into Mandarin studying on a daily basis. And I'll be making video logs of my progress. So yeah. So why is this video so poor quality? Well, I don't have any of the nice creature comforts that I'm used to. I'm working with a laptop webcam. I'm working with a laptop microphone. I'm working with this not very well lit room that I have and other things. All of my stuff is in my dorm currently, and then you have to move out of the dorm, and then the virus stuff is going on. So then I'll be back here, and then I'll have better things. So give it a week or so before things actually look better. But for now, I have to deal with this gross ugliness of this terrible, terrible setup. And then also have to deal with not being able to edit this in a nice way. I think I'm gonna have to use the internal YouTube editor, and from what I am knowledgeable of, that kind of sucks. Or I can just be really good and do this all in one take, but I doubt that I'm going to be really good. This is already the second take of this, so we'll see how that goes. Um, so let's get into some language background so that it doesn't seem odd that because I'm not actually starting from square one when it comes to this progress thing. So let's give some background so that it doesn't look unreasonable when I start out, and then they'll be like, you made a lot more progress than you said. You lied to us. No, that's not how I'm doing this. So in elementary school, I went to a language academy, and that language academy, at the time that I started going there, it had French, Spanish, and Japanese. So I took Japanese from kindergarten to third grade. And as you'd expect from a program like that, it was one of those programs where you like start the language, and then the next year you restart, and then the next year you restart, and you barely end up learning any like phrases that are useful or anything like that. At one point, I did know the whole hiragana alphabet, character, what syllables? I don't know, but I knew all those characters for a time, and then I lost it. The only Japanese I really know now is ringo taberu, which is eat apple, something like that. Because I watched a random video recently that had an interesting whatever. Anyway, after Japanese, I started Mandarin because our school added Mandarin as its language, as a new language, and it was the first time you were able to switch languages. So I switched to Mandarin because obvious reasons, and fourth through 6th grade was the time I was at that school learning Mandarin. And during that time, the first teacher got sick, then left. So we had a substitute teacher that didn't know Mandarin. So it was like, okay, how are we going to learn Mandarin for someone that doesn't know Mandarin? But anyway, then we had a new teacher, and then the new teacher kind of taught stuff, but couldn't teach that much because he spent a lot of time dealing with kids being rowdy. So it was like, okay, so how much are you going to learn from that? So my first like official more regular start was when I went to 7th grade. And in 7th grade, I was in a program where it's called an academic center, where you're a middle schooler that's in a high school and taking high school classes. And we took the elective classes with the high schoolers and then the non-elective classes with our own middle school group. So the elective classes included a language, and the language I took was Mandarin. So I took Mandarin 1 and 2 in 7th and 8th grade. And I actually did learn a fair bit of like the basics of like how to introduce yourself, learned about fruits and sports and other things. I forget a lot of it, but that's what I learned. And my biggest thing was not being able to speak very well. My writing was fine, but speaking, I just couldn't do it. Well, I could do it, just not very well. Uh, Freshman year of high school, went to a new school and had a placement exam for your language. I did place into Mandarin 3, which is surprising because I don't think my speaking skills were up to par, but the writing was probably fine, but the speaking skills not there. Like all of Mandarin 3, I think it was just the class barely speaking any Mandarin, and then the people that like already knew how to speak Mandarin speaking Mandarin. So you're just like, okay, what's the point? Okay. And then sophomore year, went to a new high school, which also had a placement exam for languages, and I did not place into Mandarin then because, again, I talked to the teachers later, and it was because of speaking. So again, writing fine, speaking not quite there. So in high school, I actually ended up taking French for 3 years. What are my thoughts on French? Je pense que le français, c'est la pierre langue, or la langue pierre. I'm not sure which of those is correct. Maybe they're both correct, but I think it'd be la langue pierre, like the worst language. But anyway, j'ai oublié beaucoup de français because I haven't used it. It's not, but that's probably the language that I know the best. That's not English right now because of taking that for 3 years. I wish I would have just gone from the drawing board and just started in Mandarin 1. That would have been a great idea, but also that would have been bad from a fairness standpoint because I would have definitely done better in a Mandarin 1 class than people that hadn't learned Mandarin before. But at the same time, it's about my language learning. Okay, anyway, so I ended up learning French. Useful in the sense that you learn a lot about English through learning French, which is a useful thing. But as far as care, I did not care to learn French. So that is my language background. And so I'm not starting from nothing. I'm actually starting from probably a significant amount of things. It's just like in the recesses of my brain. But yeah, so language progress logs start tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. If the internet can't hold me accountable, I don't know who can. But that's the plan. That is the plan. And I haven't spoken Mandarin this whole video. So, 谢谢你,再见. And then I'll just gonna walk out.